chapter 20, verse 115. So 20, 115, 2, 1, 3, 5. Peace be upon you all. God bless you. Welcome. Who's the volunteer? Who's the volunteer?
Should I do that? Hello?
Wait,
Who
didn't
is it?
Ismail? Didn't Ismail say
Is
it
that
already?
Ismail? Ismail's gonna do it? Okay, go ahead, Ismail. Peace and welcome. Okay. Go ahead, Ismail. Are you ready?
All right. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. They said if he could only show us a miracle
No,
from his
wrong
Lord.
verse, brother.
Oh,
21:15. It's in the chat. It starts with
oh,
humans fail to
21.
make a firm stand. Chapter 20, verse 115.
15. All right. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. We tested Adam in the past, but he forgot and we found him indecisive. When Satan challenged God's absolute authority, you and I did not make a firm stand against Satan. God is giving us a chance on this earth to redeem himself by denouncing Satan and upholding God's absolute authority. Appendix. Recall that we said to the angels, fall prostrate before Adam. They fell prostrate except Satan, he refused. We then said, O Adam, this is an enemy of you and your wife. Do not let him evict you from paradise, lest you become miserable. You are guaranteed never to hunger therein, nor go unsheltered, nor will you thirst therein, nor suffer from any heat. But the devil whispered to him, saying, O Adam, let me show you the tree of eternity and unending kingship. I'm going to 125.
Yes, you know what?
Okay.
I'm
Great.
so sorry. Your audio quality is a little poor.
Oh, so let me try more. Let me try harder.
It's just a
A comment
bad,
or
it's a bad
oh,
audio quality. It's kind of painful. I'm so
okay.
sorry.
Somebody else go.
Can somebody else read? I'm so sorry. I hate to have to do that. It was just a bad audio quality.
Can I do that?
Can
I can read
somebody-
if my I can read if
Your
my
Is
audio,
that him?
apologies.
yeah. He did volunteer. Brother Ibrahim Ali did volunteer, and you do have good
Okay.
audio quality. Please continue.
No, go
Okay.
ahead. Let me do it.
So 21:19. Nor will you thirst therein, nor suffer from any heat. But the devil whispered to him, saying, O Adam, let me show you the tree of eternity and unending kingship. They ate from it, whereupon their bodies became visible to them, and they tried to cover themselves with the leaves of paradise. Adam thus disobeyed his Lord and fell. Subsequently, his Lord chose him, redeemed him, and guided him. He said, Go down therefrom, all of you. You are enemies from one another. When guidance comes to you from me, anyone who follows my guidance will not go astray, nor suffer any misery. For the disbelievers, miserable life unavoidable. As for the one who disregards my message, he will have a miserable life, and we resurrect him on the day of judgment, on the day of resurrection, blind. He will say, My Lord, why did you summon me blind when I used to be a seer? He will say, Because you forgot our revelations when they came to you, and you are now forgotten. We thus requite those who transgress and refuse to believe in the revelations of their Lord. The retribution in the hereafter is far worse. Sorry, it jumped. Oh, there we go. It's far worse and everlasting. It jumped again, excuse me. Does it ever occur
You
to
hold
them how many previous generations we have annihilated? They are now walking in the homes of those before them. These are the signs for those who possess intelligence. If it were not for your Lord's predetermined plan, they would have been judged immediately. Therefore, be patient in the face of their utterances, and praise and glorify your Lord before sunrise and before sunset. And during the night, glorify him, as well as both ends of the day, that you may be happy. And do not covet what we bestowed upon any other people. Such are temporary ornaments of this life, whereby we put them to the test. What your Lord provides for you is far better and everlasting. The parent's responsibility. You shall enjoin your family to observe the contact prayers and steadfastly preserve in doing so. Persevere in doing so. We do not ask for any provisions. We are the ones who provide for you. The ultimate triumph belongs to the righteous. You want me to continue?
Yes, sir. We're finishing the rest of the chapter.
Okay, got it. Why messengers? They said, if he could only show us a miracle from his Lord, did they not receive sufficient miracles with the previous messages? Had we annihilated them before this, they would have said, "Oh Lord, our Lord, had you sent a messenger to us, we would have followed your revelation. We would have avoided the shame and humiliation. Say, all of us are waiting, so wait. You will surely find out who are on the right path and who are truly guided." Alhamdulillah.
Praise God, brother. Thank you so much. Please and welcome to everyone who joined. We just read from chapter 20, 115 to the end, 135. That was Mr. Ibrahim Ali did that. You get priority for any questions or commentary you want to share with us. Is there something you wanted to say about these verses?
Oh yeah, like what really stands out to me is the not being envious of like the people who have ornaments in this world. You know, like God points that out on I believe that's verse 131. And it's like that in itself, like these, you know, ornaments or temporary ornaments of this life is considered a test from God to these people. I mean, there's so many things that I can also point out, but I'll just start with that.
God bless you. Thank you very much. I find the first verse as one of the most powerful verses in the Quran. As we tested Adam in the past, but he forgot, and we found him indecisive. This is such a powerful verse, and the footnote expands on that, right? It's all about this concept of taking a firm stand. We cannot be wishy-washy. So the footnote says when Satan challenged God's absolute authority, 3869, you and I did not make a firm stand against Satan. God is giving us a chance on this earth to redeem ourselves by denouncing Satan and upholding God's absolute authority. Appendix 7. So one thing I've noticed that's so important in submission is this concept of making a firm stand, because it's really easy to be wishy-washy, but taking a firm stand is what has value and is what is very, very significant. Because if we're in this position where we're not really in this group, we're not really in that group, we're not really this way, we're not that way, we're unclear, we're kind of, um, in between zone, this is condemned in the Quran. And I got a verse for you. Chapter 4, verse 100 and 104. Let me put these two verses for you. These will talk about the hypocrites. But at least one dash 4143. They waver in between, neither belonging to this group nor that group. No, whomever God sends astray, you will never find a way to guide him. O you who believe, you shall not ally yourselves with the disbelievers instead of the believers. Do you wish to provide God with a clear proof against you? So what I've started to notice is this concept of the firm stand situation. Because I've noticed that people are comfortable being people are comfortable in their views and being around people as long as those people don't take a firm stand. So you can believe whatever you want as long as you don't take a firm stand. But once you take a firm stand, you're no longer welcome for them. So we've been seeing this a lot recently. For example, in my debate with MFS, there's been this situation where people that have vastly different understandings, they tolerate each other, but they're unifying against submission. Because in submission, we're taking a firm stance against their view. So this concept of taking a firm stance is extremely important. We're in this world because we refuse to make a firm stance. And so we cannot fall into this mistake again. And I'm just so happy this is the first verse of the discussion today. That's my comment for now. Thank you.
What about, enjoining your family to maintain the content of prayer? I'm trying to do that with just trying to tell them to purify the prayer, but they're kind of shutting. They're not.
Can I
They're not healed.
can I answer this one?
Yeah.
Um, the messenger of the covenant. I've wrestled with this one as well. The messenger of the covenant says to to try and get like your children excited about the prayer by giving them like a reward. By giving them candy or things that that entice them to look forward to doing the prayer, but we can't force them either.
Right. What about like they're not my children; they're my parents, right? So I'm trying to get them to do the right thing, but
I mean,
things
I
reach.
guess,
Things
I
reach.
guess,
Oh,
I guess that's included as your family, but generally, I think the context here is your like spouse and children. But I mean, you can argue that your parents are included too. But I don't think it's the same. I don't think the way you're enjoying your children is the same, or what spouse is the same as your parents. That's just not
yeah,
the same
yeah.
thing.
Of course. I'm just wondering, like, the relationship it is a point now where if I strain it any further, something might happen, and I'm just not sure how to uphold that commandment while at the same time having like normal relationship or like semi-normal relationship with them.
I've heard Peter and others talk about this when it comes to their parents, and um, I think the common story is like when like they would push and it would end up repelling their family members. But more or less, if you just kind of like be more gentle and lead by example, that tends to kind of go over smoother with the family members than to like be pushy with it. I'm not saying that you were being pushy by any means, but it can come off that way. Like just, with my children, for example, especially my 16-year-old, she's, obviously older than her sisters, and she's more amped to like kind of fight against me. And I know that she's quite a bit different than parents, they're on a different plank, but ego is still there, untamed ego. So it's hard for them to take in the message, especially if they're being told. So more like leading by example is the best bet from what I've heard of from Peter and others.
Peace be upon you. I'd like to talk about the two verses, 124 and I think 125, 126. Those three verses. Nobody's ahead of me.
Okay.
As for those who disregard my message, they will have a miserable life, and we resurrect him on the day of resurrection blind. And he will say, my Lord, why did you summon me blind when I used to be seer? He will say, because you forgot our revelations. When they came to you, you are now forgotten. This is interesting. The word forgotten is used here rather than using, rejecting, because you would think there are two groups of people, one that they accept the revelation and the other ones that are rejecting them. But this is a concept of also forgetting the revelation. It means that you received the revelation, you did not reject it, but you did not uphold it because you forgot about it. You forgot about upholding the message and the revelation that God has given to us. So one of the tools of Satan, as we know, is forgetfulness. So we should be aware of it by God's grace.
Yeah, this dynamic regarding because you forgot our revelations when they came to you, you are now forgotten. You see this theme in other verses where, like 59:19 says, "Forgot God, so they God made them forget themselves." Forget you, just as you forgot the meeting of this day. That's 45:34 and 32:14. For forgetting this day, we now forget you. it says that the believers are those who are aware of the hereafter. They're aware of their Lord. In 2:152, this one's actually a good one. God says, "Remember me that I may remember you." It's this aspect of when we do this a lot, we're saying we're making a connection with God. God tells us in the Quran that the most important part of the salat is the remembrance of God. That something is happening at that aspect when we remember God. God remembers us. There's a reciprocation that's taking place. That if we want to maintain this connection with God, we have to perpetually be, thinking and glorifying God. Then this way, God is going to reciprocate. It says, if they ask about me, I'm always near, right? So this is what God wants from us, that we're in this world with all these distractions, but we make it a priority to remember God perpetually.
I think it goes along with the constant reading of the Quran as well.
Yeah, I mean, can you turn on your noise cancellation? Can you put it on crisp?
Yeah, I got it.
It's gonna be better.
Uh,
Okay.
Please, yeah. Please upon you. Can anybody
Go ahead,
hear me?
brother. Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
brother.
we
You
can.
can speak. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, mashallah. This issue of forgetting, if we look at the same, the first verse, 115, Rabbi always becoming humble it says we tested Adam in the past, but he forgot. So uh, he forgot to remember what God has told him, not to approach that tree, the forbidden tree. And is this what we also are doing now? Because I believe Adam represented the human race there, and now we're all in here to serve as a test. And God says, go down, all of you. When guidance comes to you from me, those who follow His guidance will be blessed. So is it that anytime we commit a sin, anytime we do anything that is wrong, we are forgetting about what God has reminded us or what God has given us? I think this is something we have to always look at also. Just like Brother Peter has said, when you remember God, when you are constantly thinking about God, uh, the devil will never have any power over you. So this is what I want to share here. Thank you.
To add to that, this history of Adam is just a representation for us. It says here, we tested Adam in the past, we found him indecisive. 117, we then said, "Oh, Adam, this is an enemy of you and your wife. Do not let him evict you from paradise, lest you become miserable. You are guaranteed never to hunger there nor go unsheltered." Meaning, if you do the things that God expects from us, we're guaranteed perfect, security, perfect health, wealth, happiness, all these things that God promises. If we just don't commit sin, once we commit sin, we become vulnerable to Satan's tactics. And it's the same thing for Adam. Adam was in paradise as long as he didn't commit sin. And you think about how egregious was his action, really, in the grand scheme of things. He ate from a tree that God told him not to. How much worse do people in this life do? The sins that we commit, the average person commits on a regular basis is exponentially worse than what Adam did. And we see that, if you fall into sin and you become vulnerable to Satan's attacks. But if we can preserve, the sinless mentality, it doesn't mean that we don't we don't consciously sin, but B, if we do fall in sin, minor transgression, because we're constantly repenting, we're constantly doing righteous deeds. Hopefully, it covers for those. And if we do that, then God takes care of us. God takes care of His constituency. It's just interesting if you look in 117 it says, "Lest you become miserable," and then 118 it says, "You are guaranteed never to hunger there nor go unsheltered." 124 it says that for the disbeliever's miserable life unavoidable. This is like a law of nature that if you disbelieve, you're going to have a miserable life. That's what one of the hallmarks. And then in 130, it talks about glorifying God perpetually throughout the day, and it ends with that you may be happy. And then 132 is talking about the contact prayer, which we discussed, where the primary function of that is the remembrance of God. All these things are meant to say, look, you do what God is pleased with, God takes care of you. You do transgressions and sins, and we become, vulnerable to hardship and pain and suffering.
I think invariably, every time that we see a messenger or a righteous person that is referenced in the Quran have committed a sin is out of forgetfulness. We know what happened to Joseph, right? And the devil caused him to forget his Lord, and he caused him to stay in the prison for a few years. So it seems that it's exponentially or quadruply more complex nowadays to be not distracted. That's much harder. So I think our test is the test of distraction. So harder, so easier to get distracted now.
Yeah, this is the distinction between the test of the past versus the test of today. In the past, if you look if you look at the average person's life, the distinction between a believer and a disbeliever is hard to tell. They didn't have all the distractions or temptations of sin as we do today. So in order to prove their faith, they had to, go to battle. They had to do something really like, to put themselves out there in vulnerability. But today, most of the battle is internal, right? It's most of us are in our homes. We're not out in the exposure of the masses. And the question is, are we able to maintain righteousness, with all these distractions, all the entertainment, ways of transgression? And, the difference between a believer and a disbeliever becomes obvious not in the fact that are they willing to go to battle, but it's just how they live their life. That's more of an testament. If all they're doing is indulging in the vanities of this world, that becomes very apparent versus someone who's like genuinely, looking for opportunities to strive to get closer with God. God says, can you imagine their life and the death being the same? But it just becomes very obvious. Remember when I first came into submission, my friends are like, "Hey, what are you up to?" "Oh, I'm going to Quran study." It's like, like, what do you mean you don't want to go out and party? Like, no, I want to go to Quran study. Like, who are you studying with? And they see it's a bunch of like literally it was kids and then people who were like the age of my parents, and they were perplexed. Right? So it's like people who are looking to draw closer to God, it becomes very apparent just by how they conduct themselves on a day to day.
So there's a lot of content in these verses. 21:15 to 135 is what we read. Just I guess before I make another comment, was somebody trying to speak? Go ahead, please.
I'm looking at 133,
Yeah.
where the people challenging the messenger for a miracle. And I
Yeah.
believe that was Muhammad. You see, we are to be so grateful to God. But yes, Muhammad brought the Quran. Rashad revealed or unveiled the miracle of the Quran. Then, when Muhammad had the Quran, they were challenging him to bring a miracle like that of the previous generation. But they didn't know that the Quran in itself is built in a perpetual miracle that will serve the entire world. Praise God, today we have witnessed the code 19, the miracle of 19. And even after Rashad has gone, passed away, the discoveries of so many miracles, in relation to 19 is so tremendous. Today, so many submitters, are discovering so many things in the Quran, which has to do, most of them have to do with the miracle of 19, and some not maybe connected to the miracle of 19, but what the Quran discovers today in relation to science and so many other things is wonderful.
All right, so I'm not sure what somebody's trying to.
Forgive me. Sorry, yeah, I was
Okay.
interrupted by you. Sorry. So what I'm trying to say, in
Okay.
essence, let me be brief. Yes, we have witnessed the miracle of 19, praise be to God. And so many scientists, even the atheists, some atheists have discovered so many things in the Quran today that was not revealed through Muhammad, and that made them to become as maybe Muslims, let's say, they start with Muslims before they become submitted. But that is a wonderful news for all of us. So for these people to challenge Muhammad, we should always say, praise be to God, the Quran is truly a wonderful book from God that, will deal with all generations of the world because it deals with the past generation, the present generation, and the future generation. Thank you.
Yeah, so I would consider a verse in here the most difficult verse in the Quran. Is that something appropriate for this discussion, or is that going to hurt people? I'm not sure to mention it.
Is it part of our study now?
Yeah, it is. It's a verse in here. The most difficult
Yes,
verse
let's talk about it.
the most difficult verse to understand in the entire Quran, chapter 20, verse 130. What do you guys have to say about this? There's 5 times identified. What are the 5 times in this verse? The most difficult verse in the entire Quran. Who wants to step up to the plate?
Who's going to talk about it?
Yeah, there's 5 times mentioned in this verse. What 5 times are they?
Yeah, I
Who
think
who
they're
wants to
very
Sunset,
explain?
sunset,
You want to try?
sunrise, night, and
yeah,
both ends of the day. I don't know why it's so difficult, but yeah, that's it.
yeah, it's
What
difficult.
did you say? What did you say?
I said sunset, sunrise, both ends of the day, and
Doesn't say.
night.
It says before sunrise. So you got that one wrong, brother.
Yeah, before sunset, before sunrise, both
Yeah.
ends of the day and night.
What are both ends of the day?
You
Yeah,
said,
he
what are
has
both
mentioned
ends
that.
of the day?
Yes, sir. What are both ends of the day?
That would be like 6 and uh um what is it? I'm not blanking on this. What in the world?
The most difficult verse in the
Come back to
Quran.
me, please.
The most
Thank you.
Say both.
difficult verse in the Quran. So this is a riddle. I mean, this is like a riddle. This is not easy. You think it's easy, but it's not actually.
Yeah, brother, are you
Is
saying
and mean always
it's
5, or is it
difficult?
just basically 3?
Well, there's
I say
5
both
times
ends.
mentioned. There's 5 times mentioned, but you can claim that they're repeats. That's fine.
Yeah,
There's
I
f-
say
there's
both ends of the day and sunrise before sunrise and before sunset can be the same.
I say
Noon ends the
sunrise and
morning,
sun.
and then it goes back towards 6 is when it's going
Yeah.
back towards something.
So
I don't
I
know.
mean,
May not be exclusive, mutually exclusive.
No, I think you can get all 5 from this one. So the both ends of the day, right? Before sunrise will be Fajr. Before sunset could be Asr or Maghrib. Whereas both ends of the day can work as either Asr or it can also work as okay, hang on a second. Now I
yeah.
mixed up.
What are you talking about, bro? How can before sunset be Asar or Maghrib? Before sunset is obviously Asar.
Yeah, so
Both
there's a
ends of the
lot of
day.
claims here. Look at this. There's a lot of claims all over the
Can I say
place.
something? Can I
Yeah,
say
hold
something?
on. Yeah.
Because when it's beginning, I believe that when it's beginning in one part of the world, it's the ending in the other part of the world. So it's like both ends and starts of the day. So you got the Fajr and you have the Maghrib, and then you got the middle prayer, which I believe is the Asr, and then the Isha prayer, which is the night. Remember, it might be morning in Chicago and it might be sunset in Arabia somewhere. I believe it's like that.
Oh, so I see two people in the chat, Zena and Omar, both said dawn and sunset. But this doesn't work because dawn is a period of time, sunset is a moment of time. So these are two different things. So in the verse, before sunrise and before sunset are both periods of time.
Yeah,
Right?
but it says in the Quran,
Both ends of the day. Both
when you
ends
see
of
this,
the day. Yep.
yeah, you say it says when you see the thread of the sunlight be right before it rises in the morning. That's the Fajr. When you
Yeah.
see, right when it's distinguished between the light and the dark. So that's
Yeah.
the beginning, which is Fajr. Now, and it could be sunset in another part of the world. That's the
Yeah.
end of the
Yeah.
end of
I
the day.
understand, but it's talking about one location. It's not talking about multiple locations. So it's talking about one location has these 5 times.
But how can it be one location when or all around the world is two different sunsets and
Because
two different sunrises?
I can tell you why. Because it's talking about one individual. It's commanding an individual to glorify at these times. Right? So it's telling you to be patient and glorify God at these times, you individually. So it's saying glorify God before sunrise, before sunset, during the night, and both ends of the day. So my understanding is Brother Khan and Brother Amin K is the correct understanding. It says before sunrise is dawn, before sunset is afternoon, during the night is just night, and then both ends of the day would be. Oh, I'm sorry. I actually misspoke. I disagree with Khan. I misspoke. I disagree with Khan. Both ends of the day would be repeat of the first part. So before sunrise and before sunset. So
Yeah.
it would be dawn and afternoon. Is that what you said, I mean? No, it doesn't work to say that it doesn't work to say that the both ends of the day is sunset because sunset is after the day. But it's repeating, it's saying both ends of the day. So under the paradigm that Brandy presented, you have a broken system. Well, actually, she's saying it's noon, but noon is not an end of the day. You see, that's the middle of the day. So we're getting all answers all over the map. This is why this verse is, in my opinion, the most difficult verse in the Quran. But once you solve the riddle, then I think it gets easier. Go ahead.
Yeah. This end of the day could be right at sunset, literally. End of the day could be right at sunset, and beginning of the day could be right before sunrise or at sunrise. So
Yeah,
it could be
yeah,
before and at. So
yeah,
basically, you can also think about it is that as and then at Maghrib. And then it could be Fajr and then at sunrise.
yeah, yeah. So I put it.
Yeah.
I put my understanding in VC1 chat in this graphic. Both ends of the ends of the day are periods of time before sunrise, before sunset. Okay, so the first end of the day is the dawn period of time, and it's signified in this graphic in, I guess, orange or whatever that, I guess it's orange. It's first end of the day. That's a period of time before sunrise. Before
Yeah,
sunrise.
that's what I
And
was saying. The
yeah,
second.
the period exactly. And the second end of the day is a period of time before sunset.
Correct.
So that's the
Not.
Asr. It's not Maghrib, it's Asr. That's the period of time. Maghrib, sunset is an exact moment of time. That's not a period of time. So if the first one is a period of time, the second one's a period of time. So they're both periods of time. Before sunrise, before sunset. So it's actually it's only 3 times in this verse, but it's repeating 2 of them. Before sunrise, before sunset, during the night is just night, and then at both ends of the day, before sunrise, before sunset.
So why did it write before noon? Oh, that's Brandy. So okay, never mind.
Yeah, Brandy wrote that.
Yeah.
Did you want to comment on this, Peter? Are you available to talk?
Yeah. I'm gonna put. I'm actually putting together a quick kind of like
Oh,
visual.
okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
For the
That's wonderful.
the Arabic, because once you see it in the Arabic, it becomes more clear that this isn't actually it's not talking about 5 times, it's actually talking about 3 times.
Yeah.
And the giveaway is, so wa, when it's used, this is and. Fa, so these are prefixes, okay? Fa is going to, it could be then or therefore or so, right? And this is going to dictate that it's saying, and I'll show you in a sec, there's something interesting here. And you can even go to like the Sunni site, Quran.com. What's Quran Corpus? Quran Corpus, there you go. They actually don't translate one of these prefixes because they don't understand the verse. So just give me 1 sec. I'm color coding it to make it easier. Inshallah. Almost done. Yeah, but for background, there's 2 prefixes we're going to be looking at. One is fa, like an F sound, and then the other one is wa. Wa is equivalent to like a W, but it's represented as and. But there's an interesting case. Wa can also be swearing by something. Okay, so I have it here. So I'm going to copy this in. All right, so this is the word by word breakdown. Hopefully, this is going to be help. This is fa saber. So be patient. Actually, didn't color that blue, right? And then it says wa and glorify, sab, glorify, right? Hamdi with praise, Rabbika, your Lord, before Tula Shams, right? The rising of the sun, and qabla qarabaha, right? The setting, wa min ana, so and during the hours of the night, right? So we have 3 times here. We have basically glorify before sunrise, before it's setting, and during the hours of the night or during the night. Okay. Now look, it changes back to fa, saba. And so glorify, wa tarafa, by, right? So this is like God swearing by the ends of the day. This is giving us definition, because this is the big debate that Navi's talking about. What is the meaning of taraf and nar? This is the you can come up with a multitude of understandings. What are these ends of the day? But this verse here is giving us the definition according to the Quran of what are the ends of the day. It's before sunrise and it's before sunset. Now, what's funny is the traditionalists, they acknowledge that the taraf and nar is dawn and afternoon. They don't know why it's dawn and afternoon. Right? The only thing they have, they say, according to hadith, it says that it's afternoon, but they never understood why. And the reason is because it's in the verse. If this was wa saba, right, then it would be and which one glorify by the 2 ends of the day. Then that would be an additional 2 times. But because it's using the prefix fa, this is not an additional 2 times. It's a callback to what those 2 ends of the day are. Does that make sense? Does the visual help?
Yeah, but
Yeah, it
you
helps a
don't
lot.
pray Maghrib before sunset. You pray Asr before sunset. Maghrib is only
Exactly. Yeah,
after
yeah. It's not.
sunset.
It's
Yeah,
not. Yeah, yeah. So it's not. The 2 ends of the day are Fajr, dawn, and Asr. That's the 2 ends of the day.
yeah. And so this is really interesting. So this works out very well because now this works out with 11.1.14. So this expression taraf nahar applies or occurs 2 times in the Quran, twice. Okay. So one time is here in 21:30, and the other time is in 11.1.14. I seek refuge God for say the rejected. You shall observe the contact prayers at both ends of the day and during the night. So now this fits perfectly because this has it as both ends of the day and during the night. Now, the literal Arabic is the early part of the night. The early part of the night would be Maghrib. So therefore, you have Fajr, Asr, and Maghrib. And this is interesting because in the latest translation of the Messenger, he removes this verse for the night prayer, right? Here, I'll show right there too. came after this. Yeah. So now the Quranists are stuck because one of the big arguments of the Quranists is 3 prayers in the Quran. But if we say you pray at both ends of the day and the early part of the night, now you have Fajr, Asr, and Maghrib. And then you have Isha in a different verse, that's already 4. And then you have
The middle prayer,
the middle prayer,
which would
boom,
be Dur.
you're at 5. Yeah, well, no, yes, no. Salat al-Wusta is the middle prayer, 238. That would be Asr. And it's
What are you
lit.
calling it?
I'm not calling it's in the Quran as Salat al-Wusta.
I just meant what you said.
Yeah, middle prayer, the middle prayer. So that forces there to be 5. We can establish 4. Going about it this way crushes everything. Now they have no way out of this. They're completely stuck at 5. There's no way out because if you say both ends of the day, and then you recognize in the Arabic it says the early part of the night, taraf al-nahar wa zulfan min al-layl. Early part of the night, that's Maghrib. So now you have Fajr, Asr, and Maghrib. Then you go to 2458 for Salat al-Isha. Boom, that's 4. Then you go to 2238 for the middle prayer. Boom, that's 5. So there's no
Yeah,
way
but
out
you
of
said
this.
but you said the middle prayer was Asr, and
Yes,
it
the
couldn't be
middle prayer
Asr,
is, why can't it be Asr?
like because the middle prayer is before sunset prayer. The middle
It's
prayer would
middle.
have to be noon
It's
prayer.
actually the middle prayer is actually exactly, and this is another finding that we found, it all fits together perfectly, is that the middle prayer is the exact point between noon time when the sun is at the highest point in the sky and sunset when the sun dips below the horizon completely. So the Asr prayer is exactly the middle point of these 2 moments. We have 2 moments. One is when the sun reaches the highest point in the sky, Duluk al-Shams. And then the second one is,
Could you do me a favor and translate the words that you're using in Arabic? Could you not use,
I'm
could you
translating all
not
of
use
them.
the Arabic?
All of them have been translated.
No, I mean while you're talking, don't use Arabic.
While I'm talking, I've translated everything. Everything's been
It's
translated.
getting confusing. If you would just use the English, it would be better.
If you look in the chat, it's all in English. There's no Arabic in the
I
diagram.
can't look in the chat. I'm just requesting, God willing, if you could just use the English words, it would be helpful.
Well, I'm using both. I'm using Arabic and English. It's just helpful for the
Carry on,
explanation.
brother.
Okay, so
Let me.
anytime that you use an Arabic word, please translate it then.
And I
He
have.
did. He did. Let me throw an
Go
assist
ahead.
here because I've studied this quite a bit, and so this is the trap that the Quranists sort of into, which is that they can't differentiate the period with the name of the prayer, right? So, for example, in 2458, the verse that Naveed was citing, and also it's in the booklet, 2 of the prayer names are mentioned, right? It says Qablatul Salatul Fajr, which is before prayer or the prayer of Fajr. Now, Fajr is a period in itself, but when you're saying the prayer during Fajr, you know this is the Fajr prayer. So it's also a naming convention of that prayer. And then it goes on to say Ba'datul Salatul Fajr. This is in 2458 as well, which is after prayer of Isha. Sorry, I mean, I might have said Fajr there. So it's saying in 2458 that permission must be requested in 3 times. It's 3 periods that people, someone with who has reached puberty must ask permission for you, right? This is the intent of the verse is to clarify this commandment, but inadvertently, God is obviously, well, it's not inadvertently, God knew this would be effective for us. God has clarified the periods of prayer as well. So before you finish your night, you're saying, right, you should be, because we just talked about enjoining our kids to pray, right? You should be closing the night, capping the night with a prayer with the family, right? You bring your kids, whoever's willing, whoever's there that you've managed to enforce or bring into consistently praying. You finish your Isha prayer. God is saying after your Isha prayer, the exact point that you finish your Isha is typically when you've concluded the night. That period has now begun. Your privacy begins. And God is saying, before you engage the Fajr prayer, this is now a continuous period from after Isha prayer to before you engage your Fajr prayer. These are private times for you, right? That's a continuous period. Now you wake up, you call your family, let's go do our Fajr prayer, you pray together. Now the wisdom is in the middle section. God is saying, before you change your clothes, this is another private time. And Zuhur is mentioned there. It's saying Zahirat. It's the period of Zuhur. But the mentioning of the prayer isn't there. God isn't saying before the Zuhur prayer, they need to request permission, or after the Zuhur period needs permission. Why? Because it's a duration, right? If God said before the Zuhur prayer, they must ask permission, then you don't know what to connect it to, right? 2 hours before, 1 hour before. God is just simply saying when you have your nap or whatever you do at noon, changing your clothes, so on and so forth, that duration is a private time for you. That's why God didn't mention Zohar prayer by name. And so, as
Yeah, go
Naveed
ahead.
pointed out, the 4 prayers, you can deduce the 4 prayers using this method. And finally, when you get to 238, this middle prayer is the period. Salat al-Wusta is the period, right? Which is the region exactly between Zuhur and Maghrib. And so you're forced to accept that there's named 4 prayers that you can deduce, and the middle prayer must therefore be a 5th point somewhere in that region. So the Quran is there, they're short by 2, just looking at the verses.
There's two
Okay.
prayers. Two prayers are mentioned by name. I put the graphic in the chat. I mean, anyone who's confused, I just strongly encourage you just study this image carefully. Look, it's very simple. The first end of the day is dawn. The highest point of the sky, which is the Duluk al-Shams, that's noon. Second end of the day is afternoon. Early part of the night is sunset. And then Isha is just Isha. And that's in 2458. There's all 5 prayers. There's no
Yeah, I
way out
wanted
of
to
this.
ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
This no way out of it. But yeah, I wanted to ask. When do you know when Asr prayer or before sunset prayer begins?
Yeah, it's the middle
What is
point.
the
I told you.
what
It's
is
the
the
exact, that's
indication?
why it's called Salat al-Wusta. It's the exact middle point between noon and sunset.
Right. So it would be approximately 3-ish hours between, right?
I don't want to give an approximation like this because it fluctuates throughout the year, but it's the
Yeah,
point
but yeah,
where
it
the sun is
does. Like,
physically between noon and sunset.
It's not quite the physical thing, it's the temporal
right.
thing. So if
So,
noon is at 12,
but
so
yeah,
your noon prayer is at 12 and your Maghrib prayer is at 6, your Wusta
yeah.
prayer will be exactly at 3.
Right. So, but I wanted to bring this up because it's like there are conventional ways of knowing when the time of prayer happens outside of technology, right? So, like conventionally, it would be when the shadow of an object doubles is the beginning of Asr prayer. Do you agree with this, or do you
No,
have a
it's
different
wrong.
understanding?
It's wrong, and I'll explain why. So the
Okay, go
rate of
ahead.
the sun movement in the sky is uneven, right? So you have, for example, the summer solstice and the winter solstice. And the Earth
Hmm.
orbiting the sun doesn't orbit the sun in a perfect circular fashion. It orbits in an ellipse. What that means is that at the apex of its turn, just imagine you're doing a sharp turn with your car. There's a period where you
Hmm.
slow down, right? And that the sun
Hmm.
is doing the same thing. During these solstices, the sun is actually rising at a slower rate, and then it speeds up in the midpoint, and then it sets at a slower rate. So if you're basing your
Okay.
calculation based on physical position of the sun, then it's possible that temporally, i.e. the time difference, may not be the case. So if you look at the sun, let's say the shadow is twice, some Sunnis
Hmm.
believe it's twice plus the stick or whatever that you're using. Some other numbers have been used as well. The sun isn't actually, the period isn't exactly between those 2 points. The sun isn't even between those 2 points. It gets a little
So
bit
what?
complicated, but just recognize
So
that the
yeah,
rate that the
but
sun moves in the sky is different to the rate at which
okay.
time moves.
Right. So what is your indication that you're entering Asr prayer or before sunset prayer? What indication
Calculation
is
is
it?
the safest method. You know
I mean,
when noon
you are
is, right?
you're in the
So
desert,
noon,
so
yeah,
you don't
I'm
have any.
explaining.
You know what I mean? Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
explaining. So at noon, this is the Dulkal Shams, or the declination from the zenith, right? This is in 1778. That's the first point. You know when noon is. That's obvious to anyone pretty much everywhere around the world, unless you're in extremities of the earth. The sunset is also obvious. It gets harder when you're in winter and summer periods or whatever, but let's assume you've got an easy way to recognize that sun has now set, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, between those 2 points, temporally, is the middle point. Now, if you have no technology, it's no different to me not having water or not having access to clean space or a place to pray. You use your best judgment. But because we know that the prayer is exactly in the middle point is the time at which it's halfway between those 2 points. So if the noon is at 12, however you quantify 12, I don't know why you want to go back to using sundials, and sunset is at 6, like I said, the middle prayer would be at 3.
Right. So you would have to feel it out. Just feel it out. Just kind
I
of
mean,
gauge if 3 hours have passed since
if
noon,
you're,
something like that.
I mean, if you're ever in this position, I would wait extra, right? I would look at the sun when it's, let's say, nearly halfway between noon and sunset, and I would just add a little bit of time. In fact, I would just wait until the sun touches the horizon. The moment the sun
Oh, so
touches the horizon,
you would wait and
yeah,
yeah.
because it's
I mean,
safer
that's
to be at
simple.
the end of
You
the
would
sunset.
clearly know that it's Asr. Yeah. But what
Yes,
about not
absolutely.
delaying prayers? What about not delaying the prayers?
I mean, I don't think I mean, you should observe your prayer. This is a separate topic now about how you maximize your credit in prayer. Do you lose
Mm-hmm.
credit by praying, 10 minutes before it ends? Do you lose credit? Do you lose credit by praying 10 minutes after it starts, or gain credit? I don't know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I have my own personal belief, but I don't want to expand on that.
Well, I just wanted to say, like, if the only way to determine Asr is to observe the sun about to reach the horizon, then you're basically within the last 10 minutes. And that's the only way that you will be able to determine Asr on your own.
Yeah, I think the simplest point
I
is
think we
that
should
we
just
have the
summarize it.
technology now.
We should just summarize and let other people speak. Go ahead. Who else to
Yeah, yeah.
talk?
Okay.
If you have confusion, I think the graphic is really good. Peter, you wanted to talk more? I honestly thought Peter's explanation was great. And I thought it's really nice to see how the verse is giving a definition and a callback to the before sunrise and before sunset. For me, it just all fits perfectly. It looks fantastic. It really brought a lot of clarity to a lot of things. I just think it's wonderful.
So can you walk through it one more time and not use Arabic words? Use English words.
Yeah,
I
so the
mean, I can
first.
try.
Go
Summarize it
ahead,
one.
Peter. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah. So in English, right, it's saying, therefore, be patient over what they say and glorify with praise your Lord before sunrise, before sunset, and from the hours of the night. So glorify by the ends of the day. Right? It doesn't say and glorify by the ends of the day. If it said and glorify by the end of the day, that would mean that those are 2 additional days. I mean times, right? So the fact that it's saying so glorify by the end of the day is just a callback to the previous times, which is before sunrise and before sunset.
Yeah,
Does that
so it's
make
not
sense?
so it's not calling out all 5 prayers here. I think that's what we had
No,
agreed
no, no,
on
no.
a month ago.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
No, we didn't say a month ago that there's all
No,
5
we
prayers.
we 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 decided this like long a time ago.
Yeah, we've had
No.
this discussion before.
No.
Yeah.
He's saying that we decided it was all 5 prayers in the verse. And I'm saying
No, I
no.
didn't say that.
No, he didn't say that.
What did you say we did a month ago?
We
But
came to the agreement that we're
talked about
calling
this.
out 3. And we agreed that it was those 3, right? Because the other ones are defined in other verses.
Correct.
That's what we agreed on a long time ago.
Yeah, we've had this conversation.
So we're still, we've
But
had this
we're just sharing
conversation
it.
before. We're back to the same thing, right? Okay.
It's because not everyone on the study necessarily we've had this conversation.
At the beginning of this conversation, I thought you were trying to fit all 5 prayers into this verse, is what it sounded like you were doing. And I was
No.
confused.
This is what most people attempt to do. They read this verse thinking it's 5 distinct times, right? That's why that point was brought up. But yeah, I mean, we've had this conversation before. We're just sharing it because it's part of the Quran study verse that we read.
Okay, no,
today.
it was very confusing, and I know what we agreed on. Okay, so before sunrise, dawn, that's Fajr.
Correct.
Before sunset, that's afternoon, Asr. Correct. During the night, that's night, and that's Isha.
Correct.
Okay, so we have Zuhr and Maghrib left, noon and sunset.
Yeah, and you get Maghrib with the early part of the night in 11,
Yeah, that's from a
114.
different verse.
Yeah, not in this verse. Maghrib's not here.
We're talking. You started this whole conversation
Yeah.
with 2130 is the most difficult verse to get in the Quran.
That's my understanding, yeah.
Okay, you started with that.
Yeah.
So I'm here. This is Jerry. Okay,
I
We've
Jerry.
been this a long time, and it was completely confusing to me because it sounded like you were trying to push for somebody to define these 5 prayers in this verse.
No, I said there's 5. No. Let me correct myself. I'm
No,
gonna
no,
clarify.
no,
Yeah,
that
I
was
said
just
there's
my
5
understanding of what
times.
was being said.
Yeah, I
And
said.
then everybody was throwing around all these different Arabic words and everything, and I'm going
Yeah,
crazy.
let me.
I don't know these words.
That's fine.
So
So let me just clarify this
you don't have
point.
to clarify. I'm fine. I'm good.
Well,
I'm
okay.
good.
Well, I'm just
I'm
reiterating
good.
for everyone else.
But let me finish. But let me finish. Peter, I have a question for you.
Oh my God, he's been in Hajj all.
Are you gonna let me keep talking?
I think there's a hot mic. One sec.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
Peter, I have a question for you.
Huh?
Wa atrafa. Wa atrafa. What's that?
Yeah. In this verse, it's by. Tarafa is you can think of it as the extremities or the borders. Right? This is what's translated as tarafana, or the 2 ends of the day. That's what the translation says.
Do you know what the triliteral root of this word is?
Yeah. Fa, ra, and fa.
Okay, ta, ra, and fa. And so if you go to the lexicon, what do you get?
Yeah, it's basically the borders, the
Nothing
boundaries.
having to do with borders or ends, I don't think.
No, it is. It is. I mean,
Ta,
the
ra,
other verse
fa.
where
Soft, ease, to lead a delicate life, enjoy good things of life, to bestow the good things of life, luxuriant, flourishing, succulent, plentifulness,
I mean,
corrupted,
I can
well-to-do, I'm just looking for the reference. Ungrateful, proud,
I can
one whom a life
sorry,
of softness and ease has caused to behave insolently, one whom the exclusive pursuit of pleasure of life has corrupted. So there's no mention of Surah 20, verse 130 in this project root, in this root.
I think that's the wrong route.
I don't
It's
think
the
you're
wrong
looking at
root.
the right root. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
can we
the root
find
is ta.
Tarafa?
Yeah.
Huh?
Sorry, can I speak?
Yeah.
Jerry, can you be
Yeah.
patient? Let Peter explain to you. Thank you.
Here, I'll put the root. I'll put all the words, basically the verses that contain it. Taraf
Is it not
in the
ta? Is it
Quran
not
has one of
ta?
two. Yes.
Is it
So
not
in the
ta?
Quran, there's
Is
2
it not?
tas in Arabic.
Okay, what's the other
You're
ta?
probably looking at the other ta.
One with K or THA?
No, that's tha. There's 2 tas in Arabic. I put it
What?
in the image. So in the Quran, okay, taraf has one of 2 meanings depending on the context. One is a glance, where you're looking at something, a gaze or a glance. The other one is the boundaries or the extremities. Like in the Quran, where it says that the person came from the other end of the city, right? It's going to use the word taraf. It's coming from the boundaries, the outskirts. Okay, so in this context that we're looking at, that's the reason it says the two ends of the day. Why is Rashad translating as ends? Is because this is regarding the boundaries of the day. What starts the day, what ends the day.
So point me to the root. I can't find it.
I just did. I put the image. I put the image. You can look it up. The image is there. I have every single word that contains this root in the Quran, right? And the derivative meanings from this root.
Yeah, I can't see that. It's too small. I can't see that.
Here. I'll put the site. Just go to chapter 2, verse 130 in the site. Click on the root. It's going to be on the right in green, and it'll give you the page. I mean, if you need more kind of like help on this, I think we can talk about it after the study if you're interested.
Yeah, we could. And this is a great topic to just come in for a casual discussions. I think Ophelia put it in the chat. She says, "Hey Jerry, remember we are also here all week long to discuss this if we're having confusion over anything."
Dude, I'm way too busy. I'm too busy to do that. So you said go to this QuranStudyApp.com and do what?
Yeah, so type in chapter in the surah, put 20, verse 130, hit select, find the word taraf, and to the right is going to have the root. Click on that root. It's going to give you all the occurrences of the root and the derivative meaning.
Let's see it. Grid. Ophelia, I'm not confused.
Look, Jerry, sorry to stop you there, but look, I just need to let you know there are a lot of people in here, right? There's about 50 plus people in here.
I sat here for a long time. You guys don't have to. Yeah,
That's okay.
I'll come back
That's
with.
okay.
If I have another question, I'll come back and ask.
Not
You
a
guys
problem.
can move
Not a
on if you
problem.
want.
God willing. One second, Jerry. I just started speaking. If I could just quickly just say that, yeah, I do notice you come here once a week just for the Grand Quran study. But if you did come during the week, we have plenty of time to answer as much questions as you need. During the Quran study, we have a limited time here, right? It's limited hour.
I'm not asking these questions for understanding. I'm asking these questions so that I can put together the documentation to make my point.
Yeah, of course, sure. But like I said, it's just we have to be respectful of other people's time here as well. There's many people here who want to ask many questions. Try our best to just keep it as short as possible, please.
We can just move on for announcements now that we can go back to the Quran study. From announcements. Okay. So we had our debate, my debate with Muhammad from Satan. I guess it was a good debate from the feedback I'm getting. I just left a comment because another comment got auto-deleted. If you could please go on his video and like my comment, I would appreciate that. I just put it in VC1-chat. This is my comment. If you could just take a moment to put a like on my comment. He promised to pin my comment, but then he didn't, and then he just, I guess, unfriended me. Well, that's not nice. But this is I'm putting my comment in the chat. There you go. So I don't know, Peter, can you summarize what the debate was about for anyone who doesn't know? Or anyone, and I guess Peter or
I can
anyone
give a
else?
summary.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, this actually it's important, right? So this guy, I mean, he has a very inflated ego, typical kind of like the Quranist mentality, where he's the only one who understands Arabic. He's the only one who basically understands the meanings of the verses. Everyone else is ignorant. They don't have as high of an IQ as him, and this and that. So the guy's entire attack premise resorts around he doesn't like Rashad's translation or interpretations. And reason for the because of that, he rejects him as a messenger. That's not a legitimate reason to reject the messenger. The only people in the entire Quran or in the Bible that make those kinds of claims are disbelievers. When the messenger comes to them with anything that they don't like, their egos cause them to be arrogant. And yeah, mashallah, Navid, he basically laid this out in his opening statement, and it kind of defangs any attack that the guy can have, because all he could say is like, look, I don't like Rashad's interpretation of X, Y, and Z. Rashad didn't know Arabic. My understanding is correct, and the refutation is always one and the same. Well, look, I can bring 10 other people. They're gonna have 10 different interpretations, and what are you guys gonna do? You have nothing. You have no way of resolving this. And so it was a praise God. Navi did a really good job. Stuck with the points. In my opinion, made the guy look really foolish because he came in so arrogant. And from the backlash, it looks like a lot of people are just getting wind that his arguments really don't have much foundation, and it just bases on pretty much the same tactics the Sunnis make. Oh, you don't know Arabic. My Arabic is better than your Arabic. It's funny that the guy that Navi debated always complains about that, and then the second that he's in that position, he's pretty much doing the same level of argumentation.
I think just on the point of this debate, like it struck me that a lot of the points that people were really gung ho about were the silliest things, like where's 21 rocks in the Quran, or how do you do ruku, right? And the whole point of the debate, or the whole point of the messenger, is that he comes with proof. Either he is or he isn't. If he is the messenger and the proof is solid, i.e. you've gone and counted the cough, the Ain Sin cough, and whatever else, and you've checked out that he was off by one every single time or whatever, that's fine. You can reject the proof. But if you're finding that there is unreasonable proof that is insurmountable to your understanding, you have no choice but to accept the messenger, right? Rejecting the messenger is akin to rejecting God. None of these arguments matter. And I think Naveed specifically, did well to land that point, that they have no unity, they have no religion, they have no structure. It's all based on conjecture.
Well, I thought the debate was a big deal. I had a lot of people contacting me privately. I feel like a lot of people were motivated to strive harder in submission as a result of that debate. A lot of people came back to submission as a result of that debate, that rejoined the submission server. If you've seen Sidra around, that debate caused her to have a schism with some people that she was associating with and rejoined the submission movement. So it's had big ramifications. Another impact of it is that this debate was also the tipping point for another brother. His name is Aditya. He's a new submitter. He was viral as a Quranist on social media, and now he's coming out openly as a submitter, sharing our content, sharing my content, sharing the Messenger of the Covenant videos. So this has had huge ramifications. Now, the top Quranist female on YouTube has come out viciously attacking me. She's such a vile, disgusting person. She's preaching to people to reject the Messenger of the Covenant, to reject submission. And she's a Quranist. She says if you are Quran alone, you have to reject submission. So I consider these people worse than Sunnis, actually. They're worse than Sunnis because they're more believable than Sunnis. Right? So I just checked. I don't see my comment in the most recent comments. I sorted by recent comment. There's no recent comment for last 2 days. But this was a big deal. I think this is a big turning point for submission, getting this debate out, this high profile debate. And I wanted to thank everybody that supported me, and also the team, Peter, AAA, Abdullah, Elham, many others, Saeed, many people. I'm sorry if I forgot your name. Just really helped both before and after and during the debate, and just really good to get this. Now we have it recorded. The recording is with us. Now there's his live video that I shared that's recorded there, but God willing, we're gonna upload our own recording of it on our platform, God willing, on our channels. Anything else about this before we move on to other announcements?
Maybe you could announce to them that you plan to go on TikTok tonight, God willing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, God willing, I may. There's a good chance I'll go on TikTok tonight. If you want to
Please
support
do.
that? Uh, yeah.
You got us pumped. By God's leave.
So if you haven't watched the debate, you should. You should share it with your friends, and I think it ends a lot of discussions about the Quranist ideology. Anyone else have any more comments about this announcement before we move on to other announcements?
Still plan on doing even though it's like late, doesn't hurt. Do a post debate, powwow, and then just record commentary. That'd be a good thing to still do.
I think they're good for MFS, right?
Yeah, for the
Very
MFS
good.
debate. It's a post debate analysis.
Very good.
Yeah, I think brother Douglas asked for the information related to COVID-19 stuff for Rashad's life. An article was shared here, and then a screenshot with some information was shared in VC1 chat. Okay. Okay. So the next announcement is that the ladies' night was a success. I think Sister Brandy and Yara worked on that. I guess it's going to be a weekly event. So, can you guys tell us about that and what how that was and what's going on with you guys?
Yes, praise God. The ladies' night was a wonderful success. We had a lot of ladies join. I think we had 19 ladies join. And I want to thank everyone who attended. It was really special, and I'm looking forward to the next time, God willing, on Friday this week.
Okay, so you're saying it's every Friday night?
Yes, we plan to do it every Friday night, God willing.
Okay. All right. And how about this? Let's put the link for that so people will sign up. So she's saying ladies' night was successful. I've heard from multiple people that the ladies' night was successful. You should attend. Other people should attend and invite others to join. Can we share the link for that? In here, I'll put it for you. There's 18 people signed up. So if you want to sign up, you can tap interested right now. For females, it's for verified females only. So they have the verified role. These are people that are personally verified as females are able to join this. I think someone just clicked uninterested. So don't uninterest. We had 18 and then it got decreased to 17. So double check and make sure there's a check mark on the bell, on the interested. Because someone just removed their interested button. So it just actually decreased from me sharing it. Now it bumped up to 19. I don't know if anyone is uninterested still. Apparently, from what I heard, again, I wasn't there and I didn't hear it, but Sister Sophia did an also really good job. God bless you. And my understanding is Yara did a really good job. So God bless you, Yara. Thanks for hosting this and helping out with this event. So if you're a verified female or if you want to become a verified female, you can contact one of the moderators or admins, get the verified female role to attend the ladies' night on Friday night. Okay. All right. Additional announcements? Please go ahead. Or anything about this? Anyone have any questions about this?
I have an announcement, if that's okay. Peace be upon everybody.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So, Sister Anita and I were speaking And we thought that we really do need to have some sort of a submitters meetup. And so because there are already so many people on the West Coast, we thought it would be best to maybe have the first one in New York. So we're looking at the dates September 12th through 14th. So far, what we have is to meet at the masjid that's in New York, or the room that they use as the masjid anyway, for Fajr prayer on, or sorry, not Fajr, for Juma prayer on Friday, have a Quran study after, and then have dinner together. And then everybody can kind of just go their own ways and go sightseeing, or groups of submitters can hang out or whatever. And then Saturday, we're looking for the people who would want to come, their input on what they would like to see at their conference. So I know we would need to do a Quran study. I thought maybe we could do some sort of a outreach where maybe we could donate some time to maybe like a local soup kitchen, or maybe we could pass out flyers. These are just a couple of my ideas, but if you're interested in coming, again, the dates are September 12th through the 14th. Uh, please let me know what, or either myself, AAA, or Brother EJ, what you're interested in doing. And then we're going to come up with an itinerary and we'll distribute that, God willing, closer to the date so that everybody can see what's going to happen on Saturday. And then Sunday would also just be a short day where we would hopefully be able to all meet again for Fajr prayer, have another Quran study, maybe like a late breakfast, early brunchish kind of thing. And then everybody could just kind of go their own way to do more sightseeing, or if they're leaving that day, to get ready to check out of their hotels and go. We're not going to rent out a big hotel. This is everybody just come. If you want to come, don't. If you can't, this way nobody has to pay anything up front. You're just going to be responsible for your own visit, basically. There's no additional like $100 and some charge for rooms or food or any of that stuff. And this way nobody has to be like cemented into these dates. If you can come last minute, you're still welcome. And if you wanted to come and you can't, you're not signed up for anything. When we do get closer, God willing, I will send out a who would all like to attend, just so that we can have an idea if the room that we're using right now is going to hold everybody, or if we need to look at getting a larger place for the prayers. But other than that, it's just kind of, if you can make it, praise God, and if you can't, then no harm, no foul. But this would be a great opportunity for us to just get together, just to kind of meet each other, do a couple Quran studies in person, have some meals, and just, build some real relationships. Hopefully next year we'll be in a better position where we could have it somewhere else, or we possibly have an LLC or something like that where we could rent a convention center and have it be a little bit more structured. But for the first time around, I think this will work really well. There's already a large establishment of people in New York. We already have 20. So if we could get another 15 or 20, we're talking about 40 submitters getting together. I did talk to Naveed about possibly reaching out to maybe some of the other communities like in London or that are overseas also, because New York is such a centralized area. Tickets are relatively inexpensive usually to New York. Most people can get a direct flight, and even people overseas, like if you're flying from London to New York, it's the same amount of time as it is from me in Oregon flying to New York. So hopefully we can get a lot of people involved, and this would be a great meetup. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you. Praise God.
God bless you, sister. I just want to also make
I
a very
have a
quick
question.
announcement. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. What's the question?
No, I just wanted to, is this like a conference or something? And are you
No,
guys,
no,
yeah,
not
I
at
was,
all.
another question, like, are you guys like not planning to go to the Fajr Tucson conference? Like most of you guys here? I'm trying to understand what's going on.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, we have a large community here of submitters that all just really want to meet each other, right? Within our own, in our own terms, without having to be under somebody else's, I guess,
So
rule.
if I could just clear up
And we
for
wanted to meet
sisters,
each other. So it's just an
this is
opportunity for us to get together and meet each other.
yeah. This is actually not a conference. This is our Grand Quran study, weekly Grand Quran study. But what the sister is talking about is actually, yes, it's like just a meet up. We could, it's something separate to the conference in itself. We encourage people to go to the conference, but at the same time, this is probably like a pretty, like this is a very large group. But if you didn't have any more questions, sister, I was going to just move on to another announcement. Sister Medina.
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you.
Okay, God bless you. Yeah, so I was going to just a quick shout out to some of the people here. We don't have everyone here, but we do have one brother who's we do see he's very vigilant in the general chats, and this goes for everyone too. Everyone that does help out in the general chats very much. I believe I seen Sister Sidra there earlier too. Yeah, God bless you all, brother Sharknose. You're doing very good work, mashallah. God bless you and everyone else as well. That's like the general chats are. There's always someone there. People that are more like to don't want to come to the VCs, but they want to ask questions still. So God bless you guys for being in there, for debating the Sunnis and stuff, and yeah, just answering people's questions, inviting them to the server and everything. So this is very good. And the more people we could have doing this is obviously just works out much better for us.
Yeah, I think just to address, I think maybe Brother Abdullah misspoke. We didn't encourage anyone to go to Tucson, or I guess it's Houston or whatever. But we've reached out many times to that community to try to collaborate and work together, but they've refused all of our suggestions and intentions to discuss or whatever. They just don't seem interested in working together or unifying or doing anything. But that's really problematic. We'd love to just sit down and have a conversation and see where we can build bridges and collaborate, but they're not interested in this. So at this point in time, we don't see a future with this group, unfortunately. But the door is open. We're willing to talk to anyone that wants to talk. And I think this is the big thing that happens in submission that we talked about yesterday, is that most people that come to submission, they just end up developing their own isolated groups and they refuse to talk to anybody else. And this is in the Quran. It says each party rejoices in what they have. They said, look, I'm happy with what I have. I'm not interested in what you guys have to say or talk to you or anything. And it's not just one group like this, right? I think it's pretty much all groups of all isolated submitter groups. If you check on them, they just say, look, we're just happy with what we have. We're not interested in collaborating with anyone else. And
David, you don't think it's like sitting to the division if you're like, okay, if they're not interested in having
yeah,
a
well, I
conversation, but when you
cannot
decide to avoid
force.
them, it's kind of like
Yeah,
both ways.
I cannot. Yeah, but if we cannot force anyone to work with us. If we say, hey, I spent many years trying to talk to them. Let's have a conversation. Let's collaborate. Let's discuss. And they're showing no interest, and they're taking strong actions against us. Then, at what point do we say, okay, well, then this isn't our future? Like, what are we supposed to do? You think we have to just force ourselves on them endlessly? I don't see a way forward under that
You
paradigm.
don't. Who are you talking about? Who's they?
Just a general of all
Who is
these
they, David?
communities,
Naveed, who
these
is they?
sort of closed off communities that we try to reach out to sort of come and join the cause, join the good fight, join the movement. Right, because what generally ends up happening is that it's mentioned in the Quran, right? People generally tend to go into this hermetism sort of thing. They want to stay in these little groups. They don't want to reach out and invite people to religion or debate people if need be. They don't want to be questioned on their theology. See, we encourage people to come here and please bring your
It's even
points.
more basic, but brother, it's even more basic than that. We're not even talking about debates or anything. Just basic collaboration on more easier
Yeah,
issues. If there's no
sure.
interest of having even basic collaboration, then forget about more advanced affairs such as organizing debates and expressing theology and these kinds of things. We're saying on the most basic, simplest forms of just, hey, let's just have a conversation about how we can collaborate or work together. It's not one group. We've noticed that this is just a general trend of all the isolated groups. This is what happens. And it's not limited to one continent. I've seen this in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, in Australia, in America. I've seen it everywhere. What ends up happening is people are just satisfied with what they have. And they say, look, we're happy with our group. We don't want to talk to other submitter groups. We're not interested in working with anybody. We are happy with just being in our own group. But this goes against the Quran, so we recognize it
Can
now.
can I
Yeah,
make
go ahead.
a quick point also?
And may I make my 2 cents? I just want to talk to Naveed, ask you a question. So you were at the conference, and did you participate in some of the gatherings, Quran studies, or any of the prayers, the salats they had together? Are you objecting in joining them when they're doing the salat for some reason?
Oh,
Because
we
I
all
know that
prayed with
My,
them.
my
you guys
understanding
walked
is
out.
my understanding is we're the only ones that even held Quran studies over there. There was scheduled Quran studies. They didn't hold any. The only ones that held Quran studies was us.
I saw you guys leave when there was a salat going on, refusing to do salat. Is that correct?
I can tell. Look, I can tell
No.
you that me personally, I never consciously made the decision to refuse doing salat there. But going forward, I probably would.
Why? Just
I think
because the group doesn't want to join you?
I think.
no,
I think it's
not
not
at
about.
all.
Hold on. Can I
Yeah.
hold on a second? Can I say something really quickly? Right, it's not about the group joining us, but I have to tell you, as a first-time submitter going to that conference, everybody that I talked to tried to convince me to stop coming onto Discord. And when I tried to explain the value of Discord to them, they just kept dismissing me and saying stuff like, "Oh, well, you're still a new submitter. You'll learn more later." And when I would question them about, "Oh, well, what do you guys do if somebody new comes to the masjid and how do you guys guide people?" I was told, "Oh, we just give them a Quran and God guides." Right? I'm interested in spreading God's news, and if somebody is doing something on chronic, I'm willing to do what God tells me to do to correct them and hopefully give them some guidance. I believe God guides through people. Right. And so
I
when
just.
I went there, the word is for a conference, right? There was no conferring. Every time I sat through any speeches or anything, I had questions. We're not allowed to ask questions. I don't even can't even recall one time that Rashad was even discussed or brought up, honestly. Right? It was very rudimentary. Like I'd only been in submission for like 8 months and I still already knew way more than what was being spoken about there. So there has to be some benefit more than just like, hey, let's all get together and not talk about Rashad and really not discuss the Quran and really not hammer out things. Like, then what's the purpose? And the whole idea for us is that we all spend a lot of time together. I'm on this VC 5 to 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, sometimes more with my brothers and sisters. And I would love to meet them in an environment where we can talk about the messenger and we're not shut down for questions. We want to learn and grow together as a community. But there, I just felt very isolated and is like looked at as one of these people, like one of those people from Discord, even when I tried to become close with people.
I don't
Right.
think
So
classes online
And
really
I
help.
singled
think.
us out.
I don't
Yeah.
think
No.
like once a year will really nothing really gets addressed in such a conference that only people meet for three
But
days.
yeah,
That's not
but
practical
brother, but
anyway.
brother, but brother, the issue is not that okay, there's not enough time. The design of that meeting was set up in a way to reject any kind of conversation. So they don't allow any kind of question and answer for any speeches.
Well, that's
They,
been going on for many years. I mean,
yeah,
They
yeah,
run it. They
it's
run it the
Muhammad,
same
designed.
way
It's
Rashad did it.
designed.
That's how
Yeah,
Rashad did it. That's
no,
how Rashad
no,
did it also.
no. I have Rashad's schedule. I have the schedule for Rashad. There's many instances of open discussion, question and answer, and open dialogue during Rashad's
With
conferences.
Rashad.
So nobody is
Yeah,
allowed to talk to each other. So once Rashad
incredible.
dies, we cannot talk to each other. It doesn't make any sense.
No,
If you
this
I
is
talked
force
to
the
lots of
believers,
people. I talked to
yeah,
lots of people while I was
yeah,
there.
yeah, not in a religious context. How many
Yes, in
deep?
a
How
religious
much?
context.
No, it's prohibited.
No, it isn't.
Yeah. So are we allowed to ask questions of the speakers?
During the conference part of it, when they're scheduled for
Yeah.
20 minutes and then they move on to the next one.
Yeah,
No.
that's what I'm saying. By design,
At a
it's set up.
scientific conference, unless the guy opens up and says, "Yes, I will take questions now," you don't
There
ask
was
questions.
scheduled. There was on the schedule. There was Quran study, but there
You
actually
have
was
Quran
never.
studies. I
Yeah,
went to
there
one
was
every
none.
night and a zikr.
Yeah, they're run by us. The only Quran studies that happen is the ones that are run
That's
by
not
us.
true. We were up till 2 o'clock in the morning having a Quran study.
At all,
That's because we initiated it. Nobody was interested. Not once was it followed by anybody except for the submitters from Discord. Not once.
The one that was up till
That's
2
not
o'clock in the
true.
morning, Jerry. I actually started it in the lounge because the
I
vicar
wasn't in
was
the
on
lounge. I was
after
in the room.
Yes, I
Oh,
started it in the lounge, but then the vicar went on, and then I asked the security or the front desk, can we please use the conference room? And they said as long as you guys lock up, you can stay as long as you want. So because it got so big, we moved it to the conference room, and we were there till 2 o'clock in the morning. But that's because
yeah,
myself and Brother Elham started that in the lobby because there was no other place for us to go study Quran together.
yeah. There's no space to discuss the theology of the religion. The people that they were presenting as submitters, the only people that were actually submitters on the stage, there was 19 new people when they had the new members stand up. I think how many of the 19 people were ours? Like 12 or 13 or 14, something like that. And then the remaining 5 people were just Quranists. They were not even submitters. We talked to them and they said, I don't even believe in a ritual prayer. It's not a thing. And there was a guy who had been in Master Tucson Friday prayers for 2 or 3 years. He didn't even know anything about Rashad. So they're not even preaching to someone in their own masjid. They refuse to preach. They refuse to confer. They refuse to recognize other believers. They banned my speech. I was nothing but kind to them always, right? They refuse to have any kind of discussion about anything. Any of us. If they refuse to
Jerry,
recognize us as believers, then what are we supposed to do?
Jerry, I rode with you the last day to the pizza place. The pizza party at the masjid, and we couldn't even find where the masjid is because the address to the masjid is not even listed on Google. The lady that was driving us had to call somebody else that was like one of the contemporaries or whatever and get the address and directions. Do you not find it a problem
This
that the
is the
masjid that is supposed to represent the MOC is not readily findable by anybody who would want to learn about God? I
this is
think
the
that's
op-
kind of disgraceful, honestly.
This is the opposite of what Rashad did. Rashad made sure that his address is listed and repeated numerous times on all his videos. Please, he says, please come to the masjid. Come meet with me. Come join us. Come talk to us. There's not even a masjid address listed on masjidtucson.org. They're not even inviting people to Friday prayer. Nothing. Zero.
I think even in the books, the addresses are there to get to Magic Tucson. And I
Who has
think,
this? Yeah,
yeah,
Rashad always did. Rashad always did, but not Masjid
that's right.
Tucson.
But
Masjid Tucson
if
has
you,
no phone number. They have no phone number. They have no address. And if you email them, you'll be lucky if they even get back to you. And that's within a couple weeks.
so how do we address this? How do we correct this?
Nothing. We asked to talk to them, but they refuse to speak with us. So what are we supposed to do?
Yeah, it's been happening. It's been happening for a long time now. And for anyone who's sort of questioning what's going on here, it's pretty simple, right? Like look at the state of submission now. Okay, it's the last 35 years. What's happened with it? Really, what's happened with it? You can see because of
Their attendance decreased. The number of
yeah,
people in Masjid Tucson is
because of
lower
this
than it was
approach.
40 years ago.
Exactly, because of this approach of don't question, don't ask. You know, we just do our little conferences, do our little Jumas, and we're fine, right? This is not what Rashad had envisioned. This is not what we're meant to do, right? How are we
Yeah,
supposed to reach this dominating all religions? What's
is
that?
there anything they are hiding? Is there anything that they cannot defend concerning the teachings of the Mosque for them to, kind of, prevent all these important things in Magic Tucson? Because Magic Tucson should be our base, right?
Well, yeah, again, brother, that's the thing. It was never meant to be a base. The thing is, from what I look at it as, America should be the base to begin with. So anywhere on that land, on God's favored land, should be where we can build it. But
Yeah,
brother, the thing is as well, what can we do? We can't go there. We can't take over. We can't do anything like this. The only thing we have left is we grow our own community, and then God willing, people see, right? And then we become the new Masjid Tucson if that needs to be. But like realistically, look at what they've done in the last 30, 40 years, right? I'm sorry, but nothing. Like Brother Navi just said, their numbers have dropped. And actually what's happened is they've caused more of these outlier groups who adapt the same mentality causing more people to sort of be closed off to the
And
idea.
my question is, what's the difference between them and Quranists?
Yeah, exactly. Right, do
No,
whatever you want.
I'm asking Susan. Like, you're saying we shouldn't divide from them. I mean, what's the difference between them and Quranists? If you can explain it to me, I would love to hear.
Well,
And not only that, like
Even if you're dealing
what
with hypocrites among you, you still have to be united. You know, it's easier
No,
with
no, the Quran never says
convenience,
that.
and
Where does the
convenience is
Quran
not
say?
what God wants.
Where does the Quran say you have to be united with
Let
hypocrites?
her
Where did you get that from?
finish.
Where does it say this? I've never read this verse. It says you do not divide from the believers.
No, it says among you are there hypocrites. So I have to
Uh-huh.
find the verse. You still have to, whatever is happening is a test for you. Not, and you're doing what San Jose did. They want convenience. They want everybody have that uniform, the way it is, that communist mentality. You just have to be able
Communist mentality?
you
San
have to
Jose doesn't
accept that
allow
in your
open
clothing,
discussion. We have
messengers. Hold on, let me finish.
David,
Let us hear from Sister Susan.
When you see people, God isn't purposely sending you different people of different kinds. Not everybody going to be in uniformly believing in the way you do. That's a test for you. It's not something okay, this is not convenient. I don't want to be stopped by anyone. You have to be steadfast. Because steadfastly persevering is not separating yourself and just going for convenience. With
Sister,
pain
I
there.
understand what you're saying. I understand what you're
Can I
saying, but I'm
tell you
sorry, this is
something,
a very
sister?
different situation right now.
Sorry, go
Like,
ahead, brother.
we're talking about submitters that have been there for 40 years, not someone who just came new and wants to try to figure out submission. Of course, I mean, we have people in here who we would consider still, I mean, submitters, Muslim submitters at least, right? But they have a lot more to learn. They're still submitters. We're very open to new people. But 40 years, some of these submitters at Masjid Tucson have been there.
Were you there, sir? Have you ever?
Abdullah, let me read may I read a couple of verses to you guys?
Can I say
Okay.
one more thing, Terry, just real quick? I just want to say anybody that is considered wants to come to this meetup, by the way, they're welcome. But like if you want to come, Jerry, you're welcome to come.
I don't
I'd
have a
love to
problem with
have
you
you
guys
there.
I don't have a problem with you guys having a meetup. I'm worried about the other part. Have a
Okay, well,
meetup.
I'm just letting you know, and
We could have a meetup every month if you wanted to. That would be cool.
yeah, and
Okay.
I just want to let Susan know, like this is not us trying to be like, oh, well, we don't want to go to theirs. We're going to have our own situation. This is us wanting to meet up and actually discuss the messenger of the covenant and stuff. So anybody that would want to come, I'm happy to have any of them if they would like to come, but they have to be aware that we're not going to shy away from conversation. And I don't think that they'll
I
come
don't think
because they don't
I
want
don't think they have a
conversation.
problem with that. I don't think they have a problem. So let me just say a couple of things. Okay. This is since 1991, I've been a
Quran
submitter.
study over? Are we over with the Quran study?
Yeah, we're on the second part where you can talk about any stuff you want, right? After the announcements.
Okay.
Okay, so the Masjid Tucson community, you have to admit that's a special community, right? All of the vanguards of submission that are there were people who prayed and studied with Rashad. So keeping it, I mean, I wish they were still in the original mosque. That would be cool if we owned it, but we don't. So they had to create a new mosque because of the situation that was around that other building. They created a new mosque, and Brother Abdullah and whoever, and even, I think even what's his name, the Turkish guy was still there at the time. A deep, yeah. So a deep.
No, not today.
No,
Case,
he's
what?
talking about Abdullah. He's talking about Abdullah Arik.
Yeah, Abdullah.
All right.
Yeah. So it was a deep and Abdullah. It was a deep and Abdullah who ran things, took over things, and made things happen after. And then eventually a deep dropped off and started doing his own thing, right? Okay, so I think there's something really special about Tucson, and we have to maintain that. It's the
I
heart.
agree with you,
It's the
brother.
heart of submission.
That's why I
Whatever the
said I call
condition
it
is at the
today.
time, Whatever the condition is at this time, it doesn't matter. God is in control and God is doing everything.
All right,
So just want to remind.
let's move to submitters VC. I don't think this is a public conversation anymore.
No, hang on.
Are we done with the
Hang on.
Quran?
I want to read two verses. Surah 49,
We're
verse
not done.
10 and 11. My Lord, please forgive me. I seek refuge in you from Satan rejected. Okay. The real family. These verses are titled first, the real family. The believers are members of one family. You shall keep the peace within your family and reverence God, that you may attain mercy. And then the next verse is, the believers set the example. O you who believe, no people shall ridicule other people, for they may be better than they. Nor shall any women ridicule other women, for they may be better than they. Nor shall you mock one another or make fun of your names. Evil indeed is the reversion to wickedness after attaining faith. Anyone who does not repent after this, these are the transgressors. And I mean, even if you continue, it's like, oh, you believe, you shall avoid any suspicion, for even a little bit of suspicion is sinful. So you shall not spy on one another, nor shall you backbite one another. This is as abominable as like eating the flesh of your dead brother. You certainly abhor this. You shall observe God. God is Redeemer, most merciful. Now,
So
are there any
this is what I'm proposing. I want to address Susan. I want to address Sister Medina, you and others. There's 19 minutes left for the Grand Quran study. I feel like this is an internal conversation. So what we can do is, in 19 minutes, we can move to the submitters VC.
I don't have a problem with transparency. Whoever wants to hear this can hear it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be public in front of non-submitters or even enemies.
Only point is that you guys you can't ridicule them.
Yeah,
They
we
may
can
be better
talk.
than they may be better than
Okay,
you.
I
Right?
suggest we talk about this at the end of the study and move to the submitters VC and we get into the more details about what's going on. And I didn't ridicule anybody. I think that's what's appropriate. So we can just keep talking about other stuff. And then at the end of it, and the after at 12,
So you did. They were ridiculed. For
they weren't
one.
ridiculed, but
So for
I think
one.
I'm just ending that particular discussion
Okay.
for submitters
So
only.
who's stopping who from talking?
I'm
Because
stopping you from
you're doing the same
continuing.
thing to me right now, but
Jerry,
you're
you're more than
Yeah,
welcome to
because
come.
to you.
Jerry, you're more than welcome to come anytime during the week. Like I said, I'll be
it's
happy to
literally
Abdullah,
continue.
don't do that to me, dude.
I would love to answer. Honestly,
just
Jerry,
come. Just forget
I would,
about any
I
time of the week. In 15 minutes, just in 15 minutes, come to submitters VC and let's just talk. Let's just talk about this. No problem. This is not a public discussion.
Yeah,
Simple as
it's
that.
just let's keep the form of the study. I mean, we're just kind of derailing from discussing the matters of the Quran.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the Quran then. I want to go back to Surah 20, verse 130, if we can.
Go ahead.
When is the end of your day?
Okay, so
Define
before
the,
sunrise, before sunrise and before sunset would be the end of the day.
what about when you get off of work? Is that the end of your day?
Not in the context of this verse.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
How are you sure?
Because the verse defines what it is.
Okay, so how do you get to, you got a stick, right? And the ends of a stick, you've got one on one end. So is sunrise, is that the end of the day or is that at the beginning of the day?
Yeah, so the calendar. What's interesting is in this context, when you're talking about boundaries, it's not so much a start and a finish, because you're talking about boundaries. So if I say like, what are the boundaries of this country? Right? It's not that there's a start to this country and an end. So the ends of the day, just like that, ends doesn't necessarily mean the opposite of start. Right? Ends just means the perimeters.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so wa is and, right?
It contextually depends. It could be and or by. So God swears by, say, the afternoon, and it uses the term wa.
Okay, so why do
It
they
could
have
be
it at the? Why is it at the ends?
it's wa, so by. So this is like God swearing by. So even if you look at Quran corpus, what's funny is they won't even translate the wa there because to them contextually it doesn't make sense because they're not reading the verse correctly.
Okay, are you familiar with the siesta, Spanish siesta?
Sure.
Do you know what the origin of that is?
I do not.
Do you know that the Arabs that they took a siesta at noon?
So what's interesting is in Arabic you have dual and then you have plural. This is in the dual form, so it's only talking about two ends.
There we
If it was in the
go.
plural form, yeah. So if it was in the plural form, okay, then this could also constitute noon because noon is one of the ends in the sense where you reach an apex and you come to a
Exactly.
decline.
It's the end, yeah.
Okay.
And you even change your clothes.
Yeah, but
Before, right?
yeah, but if it's in the dual form, right? And in essence, this wouldn't be. It can only be two.
Okay, that's two ends of the day. That's the two ends of the day is noon and sunset.
Yeah, I don't see it that way.
And that makes 21:30 all five prayers.
Yeah, but you have a problem because why are you limiting it to noon?
Because it's defined in the Quran when you change your clothes. It doesn't. So
Yeah.
it doesn't actually call out the noon prayer. It
Yeah,
does it
so
in a
so
different way.
in 2130, yeah, so in 2130, right? This is the plural form, right? So it
Two
has to
ends.
be
Yeah,
three
two
or more.
ends. There's two
Yeah,
ends.
but when it talks about the salat in 11:114, it's in the dual form.
Doesn't
So, but is your argument basically consists of you're saying that
Rashad
this is in
says
reference
at
to
both? Specifically in there is the word both. Both ends.
yeah, because it's in okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
definitions. So let's go with definitions. End. Number one is wait, that's not yeah.
I think let me throw in a sissy. Am I understanding this correctly? That you're trying to say that the ends of the day, one end is where the Maghrib and the Asr meet, i.e. that's one sharp point. The other
So
end
when you
of the
say them in
day,
Arabic,
hold on.
I can't follow you.
What do you mean? I haven't said anything other than the prayer names. You know what Asr and Maghrib are, don't you?
No, I get confused.
Oh, what do you call it?
Try to use
Afternoon?
we're in America. Let's use the English.
You're in America. I'm not in
I know,
America.
right? But I'm requesting use the English, please. It's helpful.
Brother, just follow along, please, because I'm trying to clarify the confusion. So you're saying the one end is the afternoon and sunset prayer. Is that correct?
No.
What are you saying?
So it says hang on, I gotta find it again. I lost it. Okay, in 2458. No, that's not it. Hang on. Eleven one fourteen, right? 11:114 says, "You shall observe the contact prayer slot at both ends of the day and during the night." So we've always assumed that this is talking about, and Rashad said this, right? I think that in this verse, both ends of the day are um, dawn and sunset, right? and during the night. So it's dawn, sunset, and night.
So the two ends of the day would be
Sure.
dawn, afternoon, and Zulfin min Layl is the first part of the night. So that would be sunset.
Which one's sunset? Both ends of the day, right?
No. When it says basically Zulfin min Layl, this is 11:114. Let me see what translation states.
It says that both
And
ends of the
during the
day
night.
and during the night.
So both ends of the night, sorry, the day and during the night. So let me ask you this: is sunset during the night?
Sunset is the beginning of the night. It's the end of the
Okay,
day.
perfect. Yeah, so it's part of the night. No, it's not. You're no longer in day. You're now in night.
So both ends of the day is what?
Yeah. So like I said, it's dawn and afternoon.
So you're counting afternoon as the end of the day,
Correct. Yeah.
but it's not the end of the day.
It is. If you read 2130, it defines it as one of the ends of the day.
So you're saying in 2130 that the both ends of the day, that's calling out what? Sunset and afternoon?
No. It's calling out dawn and afternoon, before
Yeah,
sunrise
that's what I
and
said.
before sunset.
That's what I said. That's in the beginning. That's before sunrise and before sunset. That's afternoon. Before sunset is afternoon.
Correct. Yeah.
We're talking about the
But
next
those are the
phrase. And during the
yeah.
night,
That's
glorify him,
yeah.
as well as at
That's it.
both ends of the day.
Correct. Yeah. It's
That's
not.
what I'm
That's the
focused
whole
on.
point. It's not. It's not calling out 5 distinct times. It's actually calling out 3 distinct times.
My point is I'm trying to make is that it is.
Then there's a conflict.
How's the conflict? With
Because you said
11:114.
because 11:114 uses the same expression, and you just said the end of the day is sunset. Right. So you're using 2 different definitions on the verses. That's inconsistent.
So if on 11:114, if it was noon and sunset and night, what's missing?
Yeah, so you're saying noon, sunset, and night. Night constitutes Maghrib, sunset. So you have a conflict there.
Sunset is not night. Sunset is the separate prayer, Maghrib. Night is
Yeah, when
Isha.
okay. What no. Okay. When does the night start?
Layl starts at sunset.
Okay,
Right?
perfect. Yeah.
That's
So
the
if
definition
you're
of night.
saying yeah,
But if this is calling out a
great.
prayer, the night prayer
Yeah, but
is
yeah, during the
Isha.
no. It doesn't say during the Isha, right? It says during the night. The Layl starts at night. Right? It starts at sunset.
But
You
sunset
just
is the end of
you
the
made it
day. But sunset is the
okay,
end of the
perfect.
day.
Okay, so now you're using a different definition 11:114 as you did in 2130.
No, I'm
You're
saying
creating
11:114 ends of the day is noon. If it's noon and sunset, and night is the other one, Isha.
yeah, but we already established that one of the ends, right, is dawn.
That's the start of the day. It's the
Perfect.
end of the
Okay.
night.
But this the word here end is not in the sense of a start
So
and end.
so
End is
that's the
in the
problem.
sense
Right? So it's the definition of end that's the problem, right?
yeah, I mean that's where you're getting confused.
Go back in time and find out what what was meant.
I mean, look,
Or you
there's a
can just
different if
declare what
say
it might be.
right? Yeah. So look, I understand you have
I'm
this
starting to gain
confusion.
I'm starting to gain a real understanding of all this, so I'll put it
I'm
together.
glad
But
you are. Right? So end even in English, right? It's a multi-meaning word. Okay? Do you understand this?
of
It
course,
doesn't end doesn't always constitute basically that you have a start to an end. End just
Yeah, the
means
second
could mean the
definition of
boundary. You
end is a
understand?
point that marks the extent of something. But its
Perfect.
end is
Okay.
not
So
something the start of
so does that
something.
mean? Yeah, does that mean? So again, why are you saying that? Say, for instance, start. If you're using end in that context of a border, okay, it doesn't constitute there's a start.
Yeah, so the definition of D, so D, 1D is the terminal unit of something spatial that is marked off by units. Swallow that one.
Point. Yeah, I'm saying you're misusing the term
That's how
end
noon
as it
gets
is.
included in there. That's how noon gets
Okay.
included in there. And then I'm really interested in
Well, Jerry, it sounds like you have it figured out. I mean, if that's the way it makes you feel good, just go with it.
so the O you who believe permission must be requested by your servants and the children who have not attained puberty before entering your rooms. This is to be done in 3 instances: before the dawn prayer, at noon when you change your clothes to rest. It doesn't say noon prayer, right? It defines it as it's like an ending, right? So I'm actually taking off my clothes and I'm changing into different clothes at noon, right? Because I'm going into my siesta, which is a definite end of the first part of the day. Because in Spain they close down all the stores
I mean, yeah, if you want
for
to
2
basically
hours.
appeal to what they do in Spain for your chronic
Well,
understanding, you're more than
Spain,
willing to
Spain
do
was
that.
overrun by Muslims. You remember? I lived there for 11 years. The influence was huge.
Yeah, that's got nothing to do with the actual topic. So it's the Quran is actually based for the whole world, right? It's meant for whole of humankind. I think a country sort of limits the times of prayer. But still, I mean, look, either way, look, from what Brother Dude's explaining, it's very, very comprehensive. And the video explained it earlier as well. I get it, brother. God bless you, Brother Peter. You've made it much more clear for me, the explanation. And yeah, I think this topic has been like pretty hashed out, guys. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. So when Naveed put forth at the beginning, when he put forth this idea that 2130 was like the most difficult one to translate or to understand, that just was a challenge for me. And I think there's a whole lot more here than we're actually seeing.
Well, I mean, that's actually what we were
It does talk
proposing
about
from
the
the
5
start.
prayers.
That's actually what we're proposing from the start. But there's a lot more here than what's just being seen sort of on the surface. And Brother Peter sort of broke that down in a very good way to show that this is like, I mean, even, I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but Jerry, you might know this because you said there's a lot of Muslims in Spain where you are, but they use the word wallahi a lot, right? Or wallah. Wallah, the word wa is before Allah, meaning by God. This is a very common practice. A lot of the Muslims still today do it. Pretty, yeah, it's pretty common. So I
Yes,
think
they
that's
do it
actually
all the time.
yeah, they use it all the time. Exactly. I think that's just where the issue is, right? You're looking at the word "wa" and you're strictly forcing it or you're limiting it to be just "and." But even in by Arabic grammar, that doesn't make sense. Arabic doesn't limit the word "wa" to just mean "and." It also means "by."
We can't say that?
We can. No, we can. We can.
There's
I'm
nothing
saying
wrong with saying it.
Oh,
no. I never said we can't say that. It's just, I mean, it's when you're saying wallahi or you're saying, I swear by God. You can say that in English. If you're saying it, you
mhm.
can say it in Arabic if you speak Arabic. I might have misspoke accidentally. I might have said it wrong or I didn't say it clearly. But yeah, you can say that, of course. I'm just trying to say for Brother Jerry how the word wa is not limited to just mean and. So yeah.
I mean, even if you look at it, it wouldn't make sense to say to glorify and the 2 ends of the day, right? Like even in English, just like in Arabic, that would be broken. But if you say therefore glorify by the ends of the day, oh, that's coherent.
In English, though, is both ends of the day.
Hey, regarding
Yeah,
the Tucson discussion, I'm just gonna move now to to submitters VC. Anybody wants to come talk about that? Go. You guys can keep going here.
Anyway, God's made it clear to me, so I got it. Peter, are you still there? Okay, no. I just
Peter's
wanted
not
you
here.
to, yeah,
Peter's
I
not
wanted you
here.
to look at the second definition of end is cessation of a course of action, pursuit, or activity.
Which word? Sorry, are we talking about?
End, the word end in
End.
English, the
Yep.
meaning,
End. END.
the
Yes.
cessation of a course of action, pursuit, or activity. So both ends, right?
Sure. Sure. You know, but the example was that example was given about the end having multiple meanings as well. Was given for the word wa, which in English is and, not end, but and. Just like so, like in Arabic,
And,
look, like
and
I'm saying the
ends,
word
right?
wa.
So
Yep. Yep.
wa atrafa would be and ends, right?
No, no, it by ends.
Why is it by in this case?
Because the word wa is not strictly used as being and. The word wa can also mean by. So when you're looking at this verse, if you're translating it as and, you're going to get a faulty understanding, and you're going to misread the verse, and you're not going to get your 5 prayers.
But
But if you
Rashad translated it as at both ends of the day. He didn't use what and he didn't use
correct,
by.
exactly. So
As
Rashad
well
translating
as
it that way,
at both ends of the day, right?
exactly. Yep, yep,
What I'm
yep.
trying to say is that the dawn, that's not the end, it's the beginning.
Yeah, Rashad's very aware that the word "were" is not just used for "and." He exactly the reason why he translated it this way, I believe. You actually hit it right on the money there. Rashad translates it as at both ends of the day because of the word "wa" is used before tara, so meaning he's saying it's by the end of that. Hence why he uses that wording. It's actually your if you're going to use Rashad's translation to make sense of it, you're going to end up having to agree with us on this.
Yeah, I think there's a way around that, but
I don't know why
I'll
you're
find
so
it. I'll
insistent
find
on
it.
that. No, but Jerry, I don't understand why you're so insistent that there's a way around it. We've given you a very good solution here, and you're. I don't think you realize, but you're actually you're breaking it again. You're actually pulling at the thread, causing it to come unloose. It's not. It's already been tied. It's already been set. This is the most comprehensive way of doing it, of interpreting this verse, Jerry. And I look, it's up to you if you'd like. Peter said it very well himself. If that's how you want to go about it, and that's how you like to see it, go ahead, be my guest. But you're going to put yourself in a conundrum of trying to, make sense of this verse and the 5 prayers.
I think God just revealed to me the answer, so I'm good. Thanks, man.
What's the answer? What's the answer, Jerry? Maybe you can reveal it to us too, probably.
It is. It's both ends of the day is the is so both ends of the day is noon and sunset. Duhar. I'm sorry. Yeah, Duhur. How do you say it? Duhar,
Zuhur. Yeah, Zuhur.
Zuhur, and
Yeah,
Maghrib. Yeah, those
Zuhur
are
and
the
Maghrib.
ends of the day.
Okay.
Yeah, at noon when you take your clothes off, right, and you don't mingle with your children after the noon prayer, probably, or before the noon prayer. Oh no,
Wait, so that's
the kids have to ask permission. It's so that they don't come in while you're changing your clothes for the noon, right? That's interesting that they changed their clothes at noon. Probably because they took a nap, right? In the heat of the day.
very possible. It's very possible, yes.
Yeah.
because the heat.
And that's where
The
that
heat.
whole idea of that's where the whole idea of siesta comes from in Spain. You know, closing everything down at noon.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Very
again, it's very,
interesting.
very possible. Very possible. I wouldn't say it's like, I wouldn't say it's like proven to be that way, but it's very possible. At the same time as well, it's sort of how do you say? It's arbitrary to the point that's being made in this verse specifically, because 21:30 is specifically talking about points of the day and the night, points of glorifying, points of prayer. So if you're looking at this verse and you try to say, look, you said that two ends of the day is supposed to be Dhuhr and Maghrib,
Yes.
whereas what's before sunrise and after and before
So
sunset?
before sunrise is Fajr and before sunset is Asr.
Okay.
And
And then
during
the
the
night.
night is Isha.
Yep. So do you realize what? So do you know what Peter was saying was the order of that?
I'm just looking at it in English right here, and it's coming out to me that it's talking about Fajr, Asr, Isha, Dhuhr, and Maghrib, right there in plain English.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not saying in plain English, but yeah, it's yeah. I do get your point. I do get your point. Trust me. And I'm not sure if you did. Yeah.
I've got about 14 tabs open here. I'm gonna try and find the reasoning behind it, but it ties into it ties into 21. Dang, I can't see where it's at now. I should have highlighted it. Oh, I was looking up ends. I was looking up all the places where it used that word ends or end, which is the atrafa, right? Atrafa.
Mm-hmm.
So atrafa is used in what does it? Let me find it. Where was that at? Right here, atrafa. So if you look at the root, right, tay, it's T-A-Y, right? It's the trilateral root is T-A-Y-R-A-F-A, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually the word that's used is it's taraf, right? T-A-R-A-F.
Sure. Yep.
And what does atrafa? How's that different than taraf?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know the exact.
Yeah, that's what I need to do. So I was going to read the lexicon, try to find it in a lexicon and see what the explanation was.
It could be a particle difference. It could be a particle difference. It could be talking about maybe like as a plural form or as a dual form. This is what Peter was trying to explain earlier as well. So I couldn't tell you exactly. I'm not an expert on it, but it's yeah, just that slight difference could be.
So in the root list, it's a noun, right? Plural.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the
Yep.
plural is a trough. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so what's it? Is it okay? See, yeah, I
And
just got some more research. I did have some more research
would
to
be
do.
singular.
Yeah, tarafa is
So in
dual
11,
plurality.
so in 11:114, it says at
Right.
both ends of the day. That's plural. 11:114, right? You shall observe the contact prayer salat at both ends of the day. Exactly the same usage. Atrafa. Then, see, I think the other usages they're not the same. 1341.
I think the revelation here, and this is the easiest way to reconcile this, is you go to the booklet that teaches you how to pray. Rashad clarifies the verses in English, the 5 times that are specified in the Quran. I'll read it. 1, the dawn prayer is mentioned by name in 2458, before sunrise. The noon prayer is specified in 1778 when the sun declines. In Arabic, this is Duluk al-Shams, which means literally decline of the sun from the zenith. The afternoon prayer is in 2238, midway between noon and sunset, midway. The sunset prayer is mentioned in 11114, immediately after sunset. The night prayer is in 11114 and is mentioned by name in 2458. So this is the bit that Peter was trying to clarify. The ends are what's plural, not the days, right? So if I give you a string and I say pinch the ends, you might assume that you have to pinch both ends of the string or that you have to touch 2 points of one of the ends. These are still plural. The Arabic is...
It could be two areas that lie at a boundary.
Yeah, I know, but that's the whole point of this discussion, right?
Could you
That's
go
the whole
back
point
to
of the root.
the 11114? What did Rashad define those as?
11114 in the booklet. The sunset prayer is mentioned in 11114, immediately after sunset.
Yep.
The night prayer is in 11114 and is mentioned by name in 2458.
Right. So 11114. So what about dawn?
You don't have to worry about dawn because dawn is mentioned by name in 2458.
2458. But it doesn't Rashad say it's also mentioned in 11114? Please
Yeah, but
tell
not
me.
by name. Not by name. The only things that are mentioned by name are Fajr and Isha prayer, which is the dawn and the night prayer. Those are the only two prayers mentioned by name.
Does the booklet you're looking at call out dawn in 11114?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder why he didn't call that out.
I think it's immaterial, right? At the end of the day, the messenger has told you these are the times of prayer. He's established it. We know how to pray.
But he called out sunset in 11114, but it doesn't say sunset. It just says both ends of the day.
Right.
I wonder why he didn't call out both.
This is the point, right? I think, I may have misunderstood what Peter was trying to clarify. But
God is
he's
pointing me to
basically
my
saying,
conclusion.
but that's saying, fasabbih, or glorify, and this is the word by the ends of the day, right? And the end here seemingly is glorified.
Rashad translates it at both ends of the day.
Yes, correct. But what I'm saying is, even in that English interpretation, right? Let's say I say to you, pinch both ends of the string. Which side of the string are you going to pinch?
Right, or I can tell you at both ends of the day. I have two ends of the day. When I end my work and when I say
No. I asked the question first. Answer my question, please.
No, I got you.
I'm asking the question. What is the response?
It's the part of an area that lies at the boundary. I'm looking for when does it say the terminal, a player station, the point where something ceases to exist. So when ends is plural in English is the only time.
I don't think English lexicon is going to help you here. I think the English is clear. Like if I say pinch both ends of the string, what I'm suggesting is that many people may pinch it many different ways. Right? Someone could pinch one end of the string twice, signifying both ends of that one end of the string. Another person could be pinching it in all four corners. Another person could do it just the 3 times. And someone could just do it the once or the twice. Who knows? The number of possibilities there is the number of ways you could actually press it. That's how nebulous the English is. Pinch both ends of the day. Pray at both ends of the day. obviously one end of the day, beginning of the day, is Fajr. It's not mentioned, 11:114, even though that's one end of the day. Your position is that one beginning of the day, one of its end, is noon. That's also not mentioned. But the idea is that all of it is mentioned in the Quran. However you want to slice and dice it, all of it falls into 5 slots, which is what the messenger taught us.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is 5. I know that a lot of people have used 2130 to specify that it's only 3 prayers. Right?
I mean, this was the position that Peter was clarifying, yes. Because
Yeah.
the argument is that if you take it as all 5, then you have to do a weird thing with the day. You have to say the day is actually starting from siesta or something like this, right? The day, even per the Quran, when you fast, is very clear. When the white thread of light is distinct from the black thread of night, which is the start of the day, you start fasting then, not at noon. And simply put, in the booklet, Rashad clarifies, one ends of those days is sunset and Isha. That's just simply the end point of the day. Because the other element, and this hasn't been discussed that much,